Hey there, hi there, Clown Hyde here. Today we're gonna be playing the subtle art of pretending to contact the dead. That's right, we ain't no scam artists here. We're actual business clowns, right? And we're psychic clowns, you know? We tried being a detective, we tried to be pawn shop owners. None of that worked. So today we're gonna be spiritualists. And Brother Id, he taught me that all you need to do to be a spiritualist is to get your own congregations, you know? So that's what we're gonna do. And then we're gonna bilk them for all they got, just like Brother Id told me. That way we can be a prophet of a different kind too. So we're gonna start. You have rented this modest room under a false name, one of the many you have prepared. Sure, it's pretty modest. It has a nice little treasure chest over there in the corner. It's not very modest if you think about it, having a treasure chest in your room. Maybe it's a mimic, right? Could be a mimic. Not that anyone in this town would recognize your real name, but your experience tells you that it will not long before you'll be recognized. Okay, sure. Soon the whole town will be gossiping about you. If you do your job right, they'll be whispering praises of your incredible talents. Do it wrong, they'll be rallying the pitchforks to run you out. Or worse. Either way, you won't stay here long. Too much attention, positive or negative, is never a good thing for a traveling spirit medium. Actually, I'm pretty large, especially a fake one. Hey, don't call me fake. Thunk. In the hallway, you hear a series of thuds followed by clattering and tinkling noises. Your assistant is no doubt struggling to load in all of the exotic carpets, ornate candelabras, esoteric trinkets, and other decorations that will transform this modest space into the den of a mystic. Thankfully, it sounds like nothing is broken. Your assistant. Boss, could I get a hand here? He's pretty young. Your assistant, slightly out of breath, enters from the hallway. You can see several boxes at the head of the stairs. Ambitious as always, it seems she brought everything in one go. Oh, it's a her. Okay, sure. It sounds like you've got it under control. Start setting up as per usual, and I will let you know if anything should be moved or adjusted. Okay, only it's just one thing. Yes? I still gotta get the poster put up. Only I just don't know what stage name you're gonna use this time. The great, the ineffable, the stupefying, the spirit touched. Hey, hey, no, no touching. Thank you. Uh, let's go with the ineffable. Uh, or, or kale. The ineffable orcale. Sure. The ineffable oracle. No, I said the ineffable orcale. Now you got me saying that wrong. Yes, we'll go with the ineffable orcale, thank you. Your assistant produces a small pen and from a box in the hallway unfurls one of your poster templates. She begins to write. Something like this? The ineffable orcale. Well, you spelled orcale wrong, but it's perfect otherwise, kid. Keep up the good work. Alright, I'll put it up in the square and be back in a jiff. She scurries right back off into the night. Always so eager, that one. You remind yourself that she really should get some kind of raise, although it might be hard to justify given how things have been going. In Brantford, a client found the hidden sound trumpet looking for an earring that dropped under the table. In Chipperville, the police raided you while looking for a different huckster who had just left the town the other night. Who are you calling a huckster? I'm not hucking anything here. And now you're renting this room at $3 a month. Oh, we are surely back in time for $3 a month. Then you have to rent the room next door for your assistant to run special effects from. Realistically, you'll be gone in about 6 days, meaning you need to make $1 a day just to break even. You watch pensively as your assistant begins to set up the room with a practiced efficiency. Even with the poster just put up, it won't take long for clients to appear. Put your tongue back in, kid. We run a... I can't say it with a straight face. We run a serious business here, kid. Everywhere people have problems, and sure, your powers may be fabricated, but sometimes the help you provide people is real. Every client has something they need to hear. The main thing you need to do is leave them satisfied by what they learned, by the overall experience. That's right, that's how I sleep at night, by justifying it that way. Of course, it'll only make them happy if they also believe your powers are genuine. And after the last few failures, Maybe you could stand to review your technique. You open your bag and take out a worn copy of The Illusionist's Guide to Mentalism by Ignacio Mysterium. It's called cold reading. We can do it. Ignacio Mysterium.
Let your client talk about themselves as much as possible. When you make vague statements, the client finds the meaning for you. Early on, your goal should be to make them feel comfortable. You'll find the client guides the conversation towards their true aims. Also, pay attention to the client's dress and mannerisms. The discerning illusionist will glean much of their information this way. You will have to make vague statements at first, and let them fill in the details. Pay very close attention here. The skilled illusionist pays attention to the client's choice of words. Shocking things can be hidden away in small turns of phrase. Once you've got an idea of who they are and what they want, it pays to get as specific as you dare. They'll be amazed to hear you know things they never directly told you. Just be careful. If you get it wrong, you can ruin the whole reading.
The book may be basic, but the tips are solid. You put it back in your bag and notice the room is already fully prepared. Excellent. Good job, kid. Knock, knock, knock. It's showtime. You may enter. Oh, we have a dwarf here. Very, very rich in the pockets, I see. What you got there? Doritos? Very hungry. A bit slobby. Straight out of the 70s, if I had to guess. Maybe 60s with a collar like this. I'd say 70s. The facial hair's throwing me off, though. You don't look like a hippie. And beards weren't very popular in the 70s, except in the countercultures. The fellow who opens the door is an older man, perhaps in his 40s, rough features and strong arms. He is dressed up for the visit in a striking purple vest. You notice that the fabric is cheap, and despite its flashiness, the clothing is clearly of an inferior make. As he enters, he casts his eyes nervously around the room.
I suppose I've found the right place, then. The ineffable Orcale, is it? Huh.
He chuckles awkwardly to himself, not sure if he should continue talking. Perhaps please take a seat and tell me a bit about why you're here. The spirits foretold of your coming, and they give their assurance for your presence. You do look like you're a little unsure of yourself. So I'm going to tell you. They give their assurance for your presence. Some people are impressed by that line. This client, however, pales with fear at that line. Oh, something ominous.
You mean ghosts have been spying on me? And that they know what I'm going to do next?
No, nothing like that. They just told me you were approaching. It's nothing to fear. I received vague whispers of many things, and I happened to hear you would be coming today.
I was always taught that magic stuff is bad, dangerous. Kinda made me nervous to be here, let alone to be spied on by spirits.
The word slips out of his mouth with a nervous energy. He thinks he's making a bad impression. The whole time he talks, he makes sure to meet his gaze. What I do isn't even really magic. It's another kind of listening. You can call it a sixth sense. See, I see things that already exist in their nature. Spirits exist out there all over the place. I didn't make them. There's nothing magical about them. They're just another part of nature. Just like you. Just like matter, just like energy. I don't even know what they are. But I can tell you, they're all out there. Upon hearing this, he relaxes. You hope your assistant is noting this in the other room. Last thing this client needs is a sudden barrage of special effects. If you're here, though, that means there is something you're looking for from the spirits. Is that so?
Yeah.
Please, take a seat. What we got here? He's nervous, he's glancing away. He's not sure about this. Man sits uncomfortably on the small wooden chair you provide for clients. You found keeping things a little uncomfortable heightens the intensity of the experience. Good God, yeah. So before we begin, I must tell you about how this all works. There's a small fee for a session. I keep the fee small because I have found that most clients who are impressed choose to leave a tip. If that is amenable to you, we may begin, Mr. Pepe. Pepe Delarue. Very well, Pepe, let's begin. Very well, Mr. Delarue. Let's begin. What brought you to seek me out, Mr. Delarue? Yeah, well, shouldn't you already know all that on account of your powers? No, no, I don't know what you've been doing. I told you the ghosts, they don't spy on you. That's not how it works. They told me you were coming, because I saw you coming through them. I'm no magician, I just have a gift, in that I sometimes hear what others can't. There's spiritual methods to ascertain people's goals, but I find it simpler just to ask. Of course I do, I was just being polite. No, no. This guy, he wants things to be natural. So we shouldn't tell him we've been spying on him or that we could if we wanted to. And for all I know, he could be a murderer who hid a body. And he's very anxious about that body, whether or not it's been found by police yet. So the less we know, maybe the better. So I'm no magician. I just have a gift. I can hear what others can't. Seems to put him more at ease. That's right. Look at that. He's looking at me. This game is well made. In other words, it is less that I choose to speak to the dead, and more that they sometimes choose to speak with me. Why did they choose you, if you don't mind me asking? I was receptive to it. Some people like yourself aren't put at ease around the spirits. You turn your ears off when you listen to them, and you lose that gift over time. I have no idea, though, but I've since learned to use it to help others. People like you, Mr. Delarue. Pepe steels himself to speak. Whatever he wants to discuss is clearly an uncomfortable matter. I live alone. Get work enough, keep food on the table, happy with simple living. Don't have no aspirations to be more than I am. But you want a wife, is that right, Mr. Delarue? Didn't mind living alone, even. But then Rosaline changed all that. Oh. Oh, there's a girl in the picture, huh? You watch his face battle with the emotions within, trying to conceal what can't be hidden. So that was good. Not so alone. Didn't expect any of that, but... You don't know if it's gonna work out with it. Is that what it is? Say nothing. Pepe's eyes are beginning to water. He's losing the battle. The facade is cracking. You watch a word start to form, but he cannot speak it aloud. She's moved on from this world, hasn't she? Aye, she has. Once she was gone, I swore I'd go back to how things were, the life I had. But now I don't know if I can stand to be alone no more. But the problem is, well, I don't want her to think I didn't care about her. How would she feel if she thought I was just replacing her, you know? Just because I'm weak, I guess. I don't think you're weak, Mr. Delarue. This is a tough call, you know? There are such things as soulmates out there in this world. People who you could live your life with, comfortably, for a good long period of time. People who just get you, Mr. Delarue. And perhaps, if there's a next world, you will see her again. I think, though, this world is a different world. If your soulmate should meet an untimely end, I think what you do in this life might be a bit different, you know? It's entirely up to you, I think. I think she would probably understand and probably want you to be happy. If she truly were your soulmate, she'd probably want you to be happy, Mr. Delarue, in this life, so that when you go with her into the next life, she'll know that you didn't waste the later half of your life to part without her. Yeah. So long as you keep that love in your heart, for your Rosaline, as it were, I think everything should work out just fine. But you're not here because you care what I think. You want to know what Rosaline thinks, right? Pepe nods. Very well, I shall now begin the process of contacting her. Be forewarned that though I can reach the bridge to the spiritual real with relative ease, finding someone I never met is usually not so simple. I will need your assistance. The task is simple. Focus your attention on the orb in front of you. Let your thoughts turn to Rosaline. Focus on them. If you do not focus, Mr. Delarue, I shall not be able to find her in the aether. With a stoic nod, Pepe turns his attention to the crystal ball. Then he hesitates, looking up at you. Can I ask you a question, Mr. Ineffable Orkill? Why are you wearing clown makeup? Don't question my methods, Pepe.
And that'll be enough to find any sort of spirit? Any sort of spirit at all?
Is it really Rosaline you're looking for?
If you concentrate hard enough, yes. You sense that he wants to say something else, but he doesn't. Asking further questions at this point would spoil the atmosphere. Much better to stop making pronouncements and letting him react. The more you can subtly learn about this Rosaline, the more impressive the reading will be, and impressive readings bring impressive tips. You turn your attention back towards your client, who is still obliviously gazing into the orb. You peer over and around the edge of the table, as if you're fixing the tablecloth. There are a couple of things that stand out. Firstly, you notice a misshapen bulge in the left pocket of his pants. Oh, they are full of Doritos. I saw that. Speaking of his clothes, there's a section that looks especially ragged, like it might have sustained damage. Which would you like to investigate first? Bulging pocket. The pocket's full enough that you can peer into it by leaning over the table. You're lucky Pepe is so focused on his task. It appears to be full of several partially crushed biscuits of some kind. They're Doritos. I've seen them before. It's not much to go on, but you've created impressive readings from less. Perhaps he has a snacking habit, either him or Rosaline or both. Perhaps he likes to feed the birds. It must be left over from a fancy event, whatever the last place he wore the suit to was. Oh, I hope not. I hope he hasn't had these fancy crackers in his pockets for who knows how long. They must be left over from whatever fancy event he was at. Let loose a short, sudden gasp of faint surprise. Lights flicker hastily. The apprentice is aware not to overdo it with his client. Mr. Delarue, it is working. Images, sounds, they begin to reach from the next world into ours. Pepe looks up nervously, in anticipation for the messages you might be receiving. I see finery surrounding you. The clinking of glasses fills the air. Laughter, smiles. What memory could she be sharing with you? Finery? Yeah, clothes, nice vests, the like. I know what finery is, and true, I like to dress nice as I can. Nicer than my work clothes, at least. But Rosaline couldn't possibly be paying any mind to that. I mean, I'd dress up from time to time to take her into town, take her walking in the park and whatnot. So you do feed the birds. Seems to suddenly blush and turn a bit red at the mention of the park. Odd. Oh, I see. You had a thing for doing things in public, huh? I getcha. The embarrassment passes from his face as you watch him furrow his brow in thought. I ain't gonna judge you, buddy. It's the 70s. That's what people do. But that wasn't for her. She couldn't care what I wore to the park. Or anywhere. You sure this finery thing is important? Can't help but feel you missed the mark. You'll need to redirect the conversation so Pepe doesn't become skeptical. In all your time together, you never bought her something nice. In all your time together, you never took her somewhere nice in town. He is not a man of many means, judging by his, worn clothing, his, down-to-earth persona. You never took her somewhere nice? I just told you, I took her to the park all the time. Sometimes we'd walk down by the mill, or up to Carmino Point, too. Or do you mean out to, like, a nice restaurant or something? He looks at you curiously as he asks that question, as though it is some kind of test. Of course not, that would be ridiculous. Why, you don't think she's good enough for a nice restaurant? No, I don't think she would have cared. You've seen this confrontational behavior before, whenever the client thinks they got one up on you. No, if anything, I respect the fact that you both chose a frugal life to live. Yeah, you were both frugal, down-to-earth people. Pepe's eyes go wide. You watch a grin seize his face and he throws back his head, laughing, almost falling out of his chair. Oh, well, that just proves it, don't it? You ain't talking to Rosaline. You don't know the first thing about her. Like, first of all, that she was my dog, my sweet old pup. He laughs again. We kinda blew this one, didn't we? His laugh is loud and genuine. I promise you, these powers are real. There are many spirits, and it is easy to get their voices confused, especially when you are under the expectations that you are seeking a human spirit. Why would you withhold such crucial information from me? I didn't plan to, almost mentioned it a few times. Then I decided that if you're the real McCoy, you'd be able to figure it out yourself. Maybe that was wrong of me. Maybe you are real and I just goofed it up. I don't know. But no matter what, I can't trust you now. Sorry. Pepe gets up and swiftly exits the room, without paying. You know what? He didn't take it seriously, it's on him. You listen to Pepe's heavy boots stomp down the stairs. It's his fault. He wasn't open to it in the beginning. He definitely misled us there. It's not our fault as a psychic. Hopefully there are no clients waiting outside for him to scare off. That definitely did not go how you planned. To be fair, it was a very tricky case. Why couldn't it have been another son who wants father's approval or something? You can do those cold. You may not be able to stay in this town long, but there's no way anyone catches on to you before the end of the day. May as well wait for another client. The door swings open and your assistant darts in, shutting the door behind her, almost immediately. How'd I do in the effects, boss? You did great, kid. Unfortunately, I blew it. I just hope I didn't mess you up and there is all. Sounded like it went, You can say it. It wasn't my best work. Did I hear you snickering at me in there at one point? No. I was coughing. But the walls were so thick. Hey, this might be a stupid question, but they didn't pay, did they? Great, this again. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about your wages. She looks at you expectantly. We can't let this little girl down. We gotta get some money out of these people. This month's or last month's. We'll talk at the end of the day. For now, just keep it up, okay? And don't let a stray compliment get to your head. Of course, you bet. Absolutely, boss. Now go ahead and prepare. The night is young enough that we might still have one more client. Your assistant scurries off without another word. Wages. It's not like you're making much off this racket these days. Hopefully the next client breaks your bad luck streak. There's a soft knocking at the door. Thank goodness, another client. Please enter. Oh, you do not look happy, miss. A woman walks through the door, dressed in brilliant hues of scarlet and gold. A tasseled suit is adorned with delicate pearlescent beadwork. In contrast to her festive clothing, she has a tired expression. By your estimation, this woman is in her early 30s. Listen, pal, I know this is all fake, but I'm kinda forced to be here. You've dealt with your fair share of skeptics before. Sometimes it's best to roll with their skepticism, at least until you find your footing during a reading. And again, sometimes it works better to try to be convincing right from the jump. Many have entered my parlor, a skeptic. Few leave as one. Your doubts of clairvoyance are unsurprising, as many these days believe it to be fake. To be frank, it intrigues me. To be frank, it intrigues me that you say you're forced to be here. I have no idea why you're here, really. Why don't you tell me? Well, at least you're being honest. Anyway, you're not going to believe this, but it's for my job. Pringilly Circus is coming to town next month, and we're doing an aerial show. Something cheesy and ghost-inspired. For Halloween or whatever. Anyways, they sent me out to get inspiration, an additional unpaid assignment, all in the name of entertaining the fickle fucking masses. So 3 cheers for the circus. Get your tickets now. Hurrah! Hurrah! Well now, that is a very unique situation. Why don't you sit down so we can begin? She is very confrontational here. The woman sits gracefully on the wooden chair, not seeming to register its discomfort. You explain the rules of the session and your fee. She nods before introducing herself. The name's Connie. Yours? My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I serve as a conduit to the spirit world. As my client, you can refer to me as the ineffable Orcale. Fair enough. She procures a small notebook from her pocket, writes down a few notes. Anyhow, your magicalness, I don't have all day, so can we get on to the dead people's stuff? We may. However, I must have at least some idea of who my client is trying to contact. Question that they are trying to answer. Process is real, even if you believe it to be fake. You know, just doing a little bit of crowd work. Just doing a little bit of crowd work. She frowns slightly and jots something down in a notebook before continuing. So what? I tell you who this person is and like everything about them, then you pretend to be them?
No, no, it's nothing that hard. You just gotta tell me who you're looking for. And maybe some minor details I can build off of. A name, a relationship, a question, whatever you feel comfortable with. It doesn't have to be too much. Connie rolls her eyes, but in her expression you spot a glimmer of an opening. She's considering the question, even briefly. Yes, I can see it forming in your eyes there. It's one of the reasons this racket works. Everyone's lost someone, and no one's immune to wanting to hear from them again. Fine, sure, okay. Let's go with my old boss. Ringleader Pringilly. Old bastard kicked the bucket not too long ago, and I'd love to chew him out one more time. Is that good enough? You're positive that's not who she was thinking of when you asked the question. It's not much to go on, but maybe you can pry something genuine out of this reading yet. Yes, Connie, that will be enough to get started. Invite Connie to examine at the crystal ball in front of her. Tell Connie to direct her focus and her thoughts towards the crystal ball in front of her. She's a skeptic. Let her examine the crystal ball. This is often referred to as a spirit orb. Many a times I've witnessed it transmitting messages from beyond this life, so long as my clients are looking upon it with intention. Let us both look upon it now, focusing on what must be revealed. She stares on, annoyed. My truest intention is to see your dumb ball doing something interesting. Connie stares at the crystal ball, annoyed. You can't help but chuckle slightly as you see its shifting patterns draw her attention, despite herself. While Connie is distracted, you notice a few things. Firstly, she wears some kind of wooden pin with a distinctive seabird perched on a flower. This one right here. Looks like a toucan. Secondly, she carries a scarlet notebook that matches her leotard. Cover is embossed with the gold letters, property of Ringleader. You'll need to take a closer look to see the rest. So this is the ringleader. So you're the new ringleader. I see. You've been lying to me, Connie. Lastly, she's tied her hair back with a faded purple bandana. Has some kind of handmade embroidery in a pattern you don't recognize. Based on her hasty demeanor, you don't think Connie will stay for a second longer than is absolutely necessary for her goal. You sense there will only be enough time to examine one of these things in more detail. Which would you like to investigate further? Notebook. You read the letters carefully. It says property of ringleader Ringly Pringilly. But of course it does. You've already established that she works at the circus. It dawns on you that you could have figured that out by context, but you try not to groan. No, no, no. You're missing the opportunity. Why does she have the ringleader's notebook? You get a brief look at the interior pages, which are filled with detailed sketches of aerial rigging, ghostly-looking costumes, and Connie's precise handwritten notes. Then Connie stirs. Gonna have to come up with something quick, something about the circus, because you don't have any other leads. It's time for you to break the silence. You clear your throat. Spirits tell me that as much as you complain, you work tirelessly because your soul was built to bring joy to others. The spirits see how you hide from yourself in your work, even as your regrets pile up unacknowledged. Perhaps the spirit that haunts you is not Pringilly the man, it is Pringilly the circus. Oh, so you may be picked up that I don't like my job, huh? What does it even mean to be haunted by a whole circus anyway? As soon as she says this, however, her eyes go wide. She takes out her notebook and begins to write furiously. Haunted by a place. Tent appears around you. You sense there's no point in interrupting your flow. After a moment, she looks back up at you. What else you got? Despite your attempts to make it sound ridiculous, I see the idea resonates with you. Oh, nothing now. I mean, you're not entirely wrong. Often I feel like running away with the circus was a mistake. That doesn't make it for a good story, so it's not like I can tell anyone. Hmm. Must be difficult with that kind of problem, yeah. The constant travel, the need to satisfy others, lack of stability in many ways. I truly understand this pain. As a traveling spirit medium at large, Connie considers this. Honestly, sometimes I feel like I've been wasting my life, putting in all this effort for people who see me more like a marionette than a real person. But then again, if I fail to put on an excellent show, ringleader Pringilio is always at the fucking ready with a threat to replace me with someone younger and better. Sometimes I wish I never left home all those years ago. Suddenly, a strong wind blows, shaking the various paraphernalia and posters on the wall. It's clearly a cue from your apprentice to heighten the stakes. You clear your throat. Are you feeling that? The draft? Yes, it's trying to make us aware of something. Alas, the gloom you carry within you is making itself known now. The east originating wind we feel is an omen, a gloomy portent. No, it's our internal gloom. Yes, the sense of despair you feel at the circus is trying to make itself heard, trying to be expelled from deep within your spirit. So that's what's causing the shaking? My persistent, apparently physically palpable dread that I'm wasting my life at work? Connie still seems doubtful, but not as much as when she first entered. Yes, it's becoming clear now. Now it's time for the most difficult part, making a reading. You address Connie directly. What I'm about to say is very important. You must listen to the part of you that carries gloom and let it guide you. If gloom envelops you, you'll be prevented from progressing in your craft. The source of all this gloom can only be linked to a malicious entity that I now see clearly. Everybody likes to blame their boss. I'm not quite sure. What advice would I give this lady? I know I'm stepping outside of the game for a second to consider the options here. In real life, I would probably say you should listen to the gloom, but not let it guide you. You shouldn't let those negative feelings be what drives you. They can be, but they shouldn't really need to be. It's true if gloom envelops you, you might lose yourself, and you might lose your love for the craft, but at the same time, it could be an excellent motivator, so maybe not. The source of all this gloom can only be linked to a malicious entity that I now see clearly. I did not truly believe that this is what we would discover when you first spoke his name, but this entity is none other than Ringleader Wrinkly Pringilly. Even you know this is a reach, but once the words are spoken, you know you have to commit. Oh, how the ringleader trusted you, Connie. Lead acrobat. And yet you repay him with terrible bitterness? The ringleader, mad with fury, stalks you as a demon, and the only way for you to be free of him is to schedule an exorcism. Connie is silent for a second, then she laughs. So this is your long con, telling people that someone they know is possessed so you rack up extra sessions. I didn't say you had to schedule with me, Connie. Well, sir, Springilly right to live on as a demon for all the times he's been late on paying his performers. Seriously, what an absolutely out of left field idea. Demon Pringilly and the ghostly dances. Literally better than anything my stupid sad head could ever conjure up. All thanks to you. You know she's mocking you, but there's nothing else you can do. Is there anything else you need, miss? I think I've had enough, actually. Well, all in a day's work. She gets up from the chair and leaves. It's a few moments before you realize she didn't pay. I don't like any of them answers. Serves you right. Maybe you need to take a break. A few moments after, Connie vanishes out the door. The quiet is broken by the scurrying of your assistant's feet in the hallway. That was a strange one, a full-blown skeptic. I almost felt like she could see me through the walls. The day has been full of surprises. The assistant nods. She seems like she's going to leave, but then she continues. You know, boss, on payday, I'll go to Pringilly Circus. I'll get my face painted and eat all the camel corn I want. You should come too. Whatever keeps you from running off with them. Your assistant laughs at your quip. What? Why would I do that? I already have a great gig right here. She's a good kid. She deserves better than this. You're touched by your assistant's loyalty. As she goes back into her room, you wonder if it's due to her lack of other options, or because you're a good boss. We're really not a good boss. You try to convince yourself it's the latter. You sit waiting for some time, watching the clock. First day is often slow. Posters only just went up. Still, you'd hope for one more client. You rap sharply on the wall. In a flash, your assistant is by your side. We're closing up shop for the day, kid. The day was long. Let's get some rest. You got it, boss. Maybe you can take a walk or something. I like this town. It's peaceful. I hope we get to stay a while. For a moment, neither of you say anything. You know what's coming. Did you tally up the earnings for the day, boss? I've done the math, yeah. 0 plus 0 equals 0. You earned 0 cents today. With only 2 clients, it was going to be challenging to earn the dollar you were hoping for, even if you blew their socks off. There's still time, of course, but today's going to be another lean day. I was doing some math too, and I know old wages will have to wait till we get some more business. Last week we talked, and you said we could start with paying me $1 once we get to the next town to start catching up. Admit you made no money today. Look, kid, we didn't do so hot today. I know, and I would like to pay you. I really would. You seem like a loyal companion, and you're really working hard here. I just didn't make any money. There were some issues today regarding the payment, and that both of our clients declined to pay. We've learned a lot, wouldn't you agree? Armed with that knowledge, we can ensure that future readings are significantly more successful. Feel a wave of exhaustion hit you. You really need to be fresh for tomorrow, which means an early night tonight. Stare at your assistant, who looks at you strangely. That'll be all, kid. Right, sorry. I know you hate lingering. Right. He's a good kid. We should probably find her a better gig than this. She closes the door behind her gently, pat her feet, heading downstairs. Then silence. Suddenly you feel a wave of dread in your stomach, a premonition, if you will. The lights flicker, and you know she's not coming back. And can you blame her? Sure, sometimes you help people in this job, but mostly you make money. That was the deal you made with Ed, too. Orphan kid wants to talk to her parents. Can't bear to lie to them. Come clean. Promising all kinds of things. And there was money for a little while. But you know what they say. The show must go on. There won't be effects to help with the next client, but in the end, you're almost saving money. 2 months of wages you don't have to pay anymore. That's not the point. We owed her, you know? We owed her money. And now we can't ever pay it back. Sure, you're alone again, but you'll forget about the kid. Soon, there'll be just another ghost to you. It's time to sleep. Tomorrow's another day. The end. You know, I don't know what I was expecting there, but that one hurts. I can feel the beating in my chest. It's like I'm having a heart attack or something. I feel really bad for that kid, you know? For making me feel, I'm gonna give that game about 4.5 cigarettes out of 5. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Good story, interesting plot, nice characters. But for now, I'm gonna go lie down. And, yeah. It's just go into a fetal position. Being a clown, that doesn't make this any happier. I'll see you all next time. Clown Hideout.